So good day everyone. So today we're going to discuss the chapter 2 which is entitled Motion Along a Straight Line. Okay. So the first topic in chapter 2 is about uh, displacement, time interval and average velocity. So say for example you have here a motorcyclist. He is traveling in one direction, meaning he's just traveling in the x direction. Uh, he is traveling east. Okay, so this is the origin. Okay, we actually describe the position of the object or or the person using the x. For example, this one, x coordinate. Okay. Uh, at time t1, we note the coordinate of this motorcyclist as x1. At later time t2, we note the position of this motorcyclist as x2. So this is the what we call the final coordinate or the final position, and this is the initial position. S- The time interval is just equal to the final time minus the initial time. And the displacement is just given by the final coordinate minus the initial coordinate, meaning x2 minus x1. The average velocity or between the time interval t1 to t2 is just equal to the displacement over the time interval where it is equal to x2 minus x1 over t2 minus t1. So the unit of this average velocity in SI unit is meters per second. So say for example, we have a person traveling in his motorcycle at and we note his position from the origin to a position x1 which is equal to 19 meters from the origin at time 1.0 seconds. At later time t2 after 4 seconds, his position now is 277 from the origin. Okay. So the time interval, if you are interested in getting the time interval from T1 to T2, so the formula is just the final time minus the initial time, which is 3 seconds. So what is the displacement? If you're asked to find the displacement, so the displacement is just equal to the final position minus the initial position, which is 277 meters minus 19 meters is equal to 258 meters. For the average x velocity, so we put x here so as indication that we're traveling along x-axis. So this is equal to the displacement over the time interval. We already know the displacement which is between this interval, which is 258 meters over 3.0 seconds. So you have the value of your average velocity is 86 meters per second. So those are the quantities involving here, the displacement, the time interval, and the average velocity. However, there is a what we call a quantity where it can calculate the velocity of a particle or this motorcyclist at specific instant of time. We call that as an instantaneous x velocity or denoted by v sub x. So the problem with the average x velocity is that it cannot calculate the velocity of a particle at specific instant of time. or a specific point along the path. For example, if you are asked what is the velocity at point P1, or I mean the instantaneous velocity at point P1 and P2. So here, your our formula of the average x velocity cannot answer these questions because it's only limited to interval, uh, between intervals. So the formula for the instantaneous x velocity is just equal to the limit of the average x velocity, or I mean the instantaneous x velocity is equal to the limit of the average x velocity, which is displacement over the time interval, as the time interval approaches to zero. Or in another term, we call this one as the derivative of the position as a function of time, the derivative of position, dx over dt. So before we proceed, so let's have this formula. If you don't have calculus yet, no problem. So here are just the basic tools that you're going to need for the derivative. So number one is that all you have to know is that in dealing with the constant, the derivative of a constant is zero. And we're gonna use this formula that for any n, the derivative of t to the power of n with respect to time over dt is equal to t to the power of n minus 1 over n minus 1. Okay. So, say for example, we have a motorcyclist here. His x coordinate varies with time according to the equation x is equal to 20 meter plus 5.0 meters per second squared multiplied by t squared. That is his x coordinate. It varies with time. So different here, different here. Uh, the question is, what is the instantaneous velocity Vx, like this one, at point P2 and point P1? So the formula here is that if this is the position function, here position as a function of time, we can derive that one. The derivative of this position with respect to time is equal to the instantaneous velocity. So here, our x sub t is 20 meters plus 5.0 meters per second squared times t squared. So if we derive this, so we have this one, we can distribute this one, d over dt of the first term, 20 meter plus the derivative of the second term. So since this is constant, you can pull this out of the derivative, where d over dt of the t squared ang natira. So applying this tool here, number one, so the derivative of a constant is zero. So therefore this is zero here. And the derivative of this t squared, if you use this formula here, so t n 2 minus 1 over 2 minus 1 is just equal to, I mean, uh, this must not be the formula for this. It should be like this. N t n minus 1. Just that. So obeying this formula, we have n, so we have 2 t 2 minus 1. So we have that. So please correct this one. So 2t, so we have 2t to the power of 1 is just equal to 2t. So our derivative now, our Vx is equal to this constant times 2t. So 2 times 5 is 10, so 10 meters per second squared times t. So this is now our velocity as a function of time. So using this one, we can calculate our our velocity at point P1, or instantaneous velocity, or sometimes when I say velocity or when the book say velocity, it pertains to instantaneous velocity. Okay. So at time t is equal to 1.0 seconds, your velocity is 10 meters per second. And at time at point 2, your velocity here is 20 meters per second. So that's the use of instantaneous velocity. So velocity and speed are is being used in everyday language as if they were the same, but they have distinct definition in physics actually. So we use the term speed to denote the distance traveled divided by time. So on either average or instantaneous basis. So the instantaneous speed, for which we use the symbol v with no subscripts, it measures how fast the particle is moving. The instantaneous velocity measures how fast and in what direction it's moving. So meaning the speed here is a scalar quantity, and the instantaneous velocity here is the vector quantity. It has magnitude and direction. The instantaneous speed is the magnitude of the instantaneous velocity, and so can never be negative. Say for example, a particle with instantaneous velocity Vx of 25 meters per second, and a second particle with Vx, which is equal to the negative 25 meters per second, are moving in opposite directions at the same time at the same instantaneous speed, which is 25 meters per second. Just take note that the average speed and the average speed is not the magnitude of the average velocity. Okay, let's apply these concepts to a certain problem. So we have here a cheetah is crouched 20 meter to the east of a vehicle in figure 2.6. At time t is equal to 0, the cheetah begins to run due east towards an antelope that is 50 meters to the east of the vehicle. During the first 2 seconds of the chase, the cheetah's x coordinate varies with time according to the equation x is equal to 20 meter plus 5.0 meters per second squared t squared. So the first question is find the cheetah's displacement between t time 1.0 second and time t2, which is 2.0 seconds. So we are asked to find the displacement. So if this is time t1, it has a position x1, it has position x2 at time t2. So we can actually get the position at those time. Okay, say for example, I want to find the position. Where's the position of the cheetah at time after 1 seconds? So we have here using this equation, our x1 is 20 meters plus 5.0 meters per second squared times 1.0 seconds squared is equal to 25 meter. Doing the same, I just replace 1 second here to 2.0 seconds. So our x2 is 40 meters. Based on our formula that the displacement during this interval is just the final position, which is 40 meters, minus the initial position, which is 25 meters. This is equal to 15 meters. So for the question letter B, find the average velocity during that interval. Okay, the average velocity during this interval is just displacement over the time interval. So you already get the displacement, which is 15 meters, and the time interval is just 2 seconds minus 1 second is just 1 second. So we have 15 meters per second. So again, the SI unit of average velocity is meters per second. So for letter C, I will not be answering this one. So I will leave this as your exercise. I will now proceed to letter D. Okay. So derive an expression for the cheetah's instantaneous velocity as a function of time and use it to find the instantaneous velocity at time 1.0 second and time 2.0 seconds. Okay. So since we have this equation here, this is the coordinate position function of the cheetah as a function of time. If with the instantaneous velocity is just the derivative of the position of this function. So here the derivative of this function is 20 meters plus over dt. So if we distribute this one, this will be the equation, the first derivative of the first equation and the derivative of the second equations. I believe we discussed this already in our first slide, first topic. So the derivative of a constant is 0, and if me the derivative of this t squared is just 2t. Okay, so 2t times this one is just 10 meters per second squared times t. So this is the velocity, instantaneous velocity as a function of time. If you use it to find Vx at 1.0 second to 2.0 seconds, so our Vx at t is equal to 1.0 second is 10 meters per second here. His instantaneous velocity here, or his velocity, is 10 meters per second at this point. At this point, his velocity increased. It became 20 meters per second. So those are the concept of average and instantaneous velocities. If you graph the position versus time, this is the how the graph of the average x velocity looks like. So it's just the this is the slope of the average velocity. Okay. So if you look at the graph of the instantaneous velocity, it's actually tangent to the path. So if we make the time interval approaches to zero, so magkagamay ang interval, it will become tangent to the slope is tangent to the path. So if you are given in the uh, problem kung makaatubang mo aning mga xt graph, x as a function of time graph, you can determine the velocity if is it positive, zero, or negative based on the slope. If the slope of the velocity looks like this, meaning this is positive. So this one are positive slopes. If the velocity or the slope of your velocity looks like this, so your instantaneous velocity is zero. If this is the case, it means negative. So later on, you will know that you can also determine the acceleration using the graph, x xt graphs. So now, how about we go to average acceleration? So we are done with average velocity. So what is the difference between average acceleration and average velocity? So here, uh, we can actually calculate the change of. So if we know the velocity at t1 and t2, we can actually calculate the change of the particle's velocity. So the average acceleration is just the change of the particle's velocity uh, over a time interval. So change of Vx over the time interval. So that is the average acceleration or x acceleration. So say for example here at time t1 you have 10 meters per second. At time t 2.0 seconds you have 20 meters per second. Then you can calculate your average acceleration during this interval, between this interval, as the final velocity minus the initial velocity over t2 minus t1, which is 20 minus 10, which is 10 over 2.0 minus 1, so we have 10 meters per second squared. The SI unit for the average acceleration is meters per second squared. So just like the average or just like the instantaneous velocity, we also have instantaneous acceleration. So here, uh, you can calculate the instantaneous acceleration as just the derivative of the velocity function. So if you know the velocity of a particle as a function of time, the derivative of that is acceleration. Or if you know the position, you can derive it twice. You can get the instantaneous velocity, then you can get the instantaneous acceleration. So, so by the way, so this is not velocity, this is acceleration. This is acceleration. So this is also not the formula. So the formula here is n t to the power of n minus 1. Okay. So say for example, you have this motorcyclist. His his not coordinate, his x velocity, okay, varies with time according to the equation v sub xt, which is equal to this one. So what is the instantaneous acceleration at point P2 and P1? So if you have function, if you have time, you can actually calculate. If you have a function of your velocity, then you can actually calculate your instantaneous acceleration. So the derivative of this function is just equal to this one. So let's distribute. So derivative of the first term and derivative of the second term. So the derivative of the first term is equal to 0. The derivative of the second term is equal to the constant times the derivative of t squared. So the derivative of t squared is just 2t 2 minus 1 or equal to 2t. Okay. So we have if you multiply this one, we have 1.0 meters per second cube times t. So that is our acceleration function. That is our acceleration as a function of time. So if you want to find the acceleration at time at point P1, you just substitute the time, then you can get this is equal to 1.0 meters per second squared. Same goes for point 2. So just this imorang i-substitute sa t ang 2 seconds, then you have 2.0 meters per second squared. Again, your unit in SI unit is meters per second squared for the acceleration. So this is the slope of the velocity versus time. The slope is your acceleration. Uh, yeah, okay. For your VT curve graph, the your instantaneous acceleration is also tangent to the your graph. So, however, if you are given an xt, this is not a v, this is an xt graph. If you're given an xt graph like this, okay, you will know your acceleration if it's negative or positive according to the curvature. So if the curvature is upward, it means that your acceleration is zero. So if your curvature looks like this, meaning your acceleration is zero. So if your curvature is downward, it means that your acceleration is negative. Okay. How about this upward? So your acceleration is positive. Downward, negative, positive. Okay. Uh, if you look at the slope, you will know the velocity if it's positive or negative. So this is how you look at the xt graph. So let's apply this to an example. Uh, Example 2.3. Suppose the x velocity vx of your car in this figure at any time t is given by this equation. So the first question is find the change in x velocity of the car in the interval t1 is 1.0 seconds and t2 is 3.0 seconds. Okay. So at t1 and t2, so you can actually using this function here, you can get the velocity at time t1. You substitute this one to this one. S- so your v1x is 60.5 meters per second. Same goes for your v2x. You just replace 3 seconds here. So 64.5 meters per second. That is your final this one velocity. So if you want to find the change in x velocity of the car in the time interval t1 is equal to 1.0 seconds to t2 is equal to 3.0 seconds. So v2x, the change of velocity is v2x minus this is v2x minus v1x. So we have 4 meters per second. So if you are asked to find the average x acceleration in this time interval. So, okay, sorry. So your average acceleration is just the change of your particle's velocity over the time interval, which is 3 seconds minus 1 seconds is equal to 2.0 seconds. So you have 40 divided 2 is 2 meters per second squared. Okay. So for letter D, so again, I did not answer the letter C. It asks here that derive an expression for the instantaneous x acceleration as a function of time. So use it to find the t is equal to acceleration nimo at 1 second and 3 seconds. Okay. So you have here a function or the velocity function. The derivative of that function or the derivative of dvx over dt is just the acceleration, instantaneous acceleration. So the derivative of the function, so it looks like this. You distribute. The derivative of this is 0. And the derivative of 2 squared is just 2t. Okay. So again, uh, 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 d over dt is just equal to 2t 2 minus 1 or just 2t. Okay. So with that, so we have here 0 plus 0.5 meters per second cube times 2t. So your acceleration function is 1.0 meters per second cube times time. So this is your function. So you can use this to find your acceleration after 1 second and 3 seconds. So at t is equal to 1.0 seconds, you actually have this one times. So you put 1.0 seconds here, so you have 10 meters per second. So actually it has this one squared. And your A2x is 10 meters per second squared times 1.0 seconds. So this is actually 3. Okay. So we have 30 meters per second squared. S- Okay. Now, so another phenomenon here in discussed here in this book, in this chapter, is a phenomenon called motion in constant acceleration. So when you are actually moving in constant acceleration, your your initial velocity v sub o x measured at t is equal to 0 and your initial position x sub o. So the subscript o means that this initial values is measured at t is equal to 0 is related to the variables such as the position at later time t and v sub x. As long as acceleration is constant, this uh, quantities here are related in this equation here. We call this one the kinematics equation, these four equations. Okay. So if you have time, you can actually prove this, that your average acceleration is equal to, when the acceleration is constant, your average acceleration is actually equal to your instantaneous acceleration. Okay. Since our T2 here, or since our uh, T1 here is measured at 0, and our T2 here is just T, our V1x is V sub OX, our initial, and our V2x will become Vx. This is equal to the acceleration times time, because this came from this equation. Okay, so this becomes our first equation in the kinematics equation, where the velocity final, you can measure this velocity, final velocity, is this equal to the initial velocity plus 1 plus the acceleration times time. So this is true as long as the acceleration is constant. Another another quantities that are equal, uh, true, can also you can also verify this. The the average velocity, which is the final position minus the initial position over t over 0, is actually equal to the this velocity plus this velocity over 2. Okay, because uh they are equal, so we can equate them as x minus x sub o over t minus 0 is equal to 1 half v sub o x plus v sub x. So we can equate this one. We can multiply both sides by t. So this left hand side is x minus x sub o, 1 half v sub o x plus v sub x times t. This is the second equation. So if we used the equation 2.8 to equate 2.14, so meaning we will substitute our Vx sa atong 2.8 to here. So what will happen actually is that uh, the equation 14 will become this one. So we have our Vx here from equation 2.8. So what will happen here is that this will become here 2 b sub ox, then multiplied by t, this t, plus ax t multiplied by t, so it will become squared. So if you distribute here, so the first term times 1/2 is just v sub o x t, plus the second term will become 1/2 ax t squared. So this is the third equation where it is true in motion with constant acceleration. So previously we have this, the instantaneous acceleration is equal to the average acceleration. So we can actually solve for t here. So Vx minus V sub Ox over Ax is equal to T. So equating this equation to equation 2.12, which is just this. So we're gonna actually put this one into here. Okay. So we have this is the T. Okay, the T squared. So this is what this looks like. We do our mathematics. So the best thing to do here is to multiply both sides by 2 times the acceleration. The left-hand side will become this one, to this term times this term, and the right-hand side will become this one, 2 times. So first we must distribute this one, v sub x minus v sub ox squared, and we multiplied by 2 ax, so we can cancel this out. Here we distribute uh, x squared over this one, squared of the acceleration. So we multiply this one to this one, so the 1/2 will be cancelled. What's left is ax times ax, so x squared. So we can also get rid of this one. So what happened is that we have the left hand side here, so we can expand this. So we have the first term plus the expansion of this second term. So v sub x squared minus 2 v sub x v sub ox plus v sub ox squared. So it's just like this, v sub x minus v sub ox multiplied by v sub x minus v sub ox, just like that. So v sub x squared, this one times this one, v sub x squared, this one times this, this one times this one, v sub x, then this one times this one. That's why there is a 2 v sub ox. This one times this one is plus v sub x squared. So since this one is the same but different sign, so we can cancel that. So we're left, and this we can 2 v sub x squared minus v sub x squared is negative v sub x squared. So what there left is this term here, and this one minus this one is just this one. So this is the fourth equation. So if we look at this one, this is our equation. The fourth, we call this one as the kinematic equation. Motion with constant acceleration. Okay. So so let's apply this to a problem. So a motorcyclist heading heading east through a small town accelerates at a constant 4.0 meters per second. So we have a constant acceleration. So after he leaves the city limits, so it accelerates 4.0 meters per second constantly after he leaves this city limits. This is the city limit. This is the our origin. So at time t is equal to 0, so the moment you measured it, he have initial position, it's 5.0 meter, and initial velocity 15 meters per second, and a constant acceleration 4.0 meters per second. The first find the position and velocity at t is equal to 2.0 seconds. So we are asked to find the position, so we can actually use this. We have time, we have initial velocity, we have initial position, acceleration. For the velocity, we can use this equation 2.8 and 2.12. So this numbering is found in your book, University Physics with Modern Physics 15th edition. Okay. Okay, let's find first the uh, velocity of the motorcyclist after 2 seconds. So just put this 2 here. So we have the initial velocity is 15 meters. Okay. So 15 meters times the acceleration. Okay, that acceleration 4 meters per second squared times the time 2.0 meters. So if you do the calculator, so you will have 23 meters per second. So after 2 seconds, his velocity is 23 meters per second. So inyong mapansin ninyo, if you have constant acceleration, the velocity is actually increasing. For the position, for the position of the motorcyclist after 2 seconds, you want to find the position, this one, you use this equation here. So you have initial position 5.0, you have a velocity 15 meters per second, and you have the acceleration and time. So you you have this 5.0, the initial position, initial velocity, time, 1/2, acceleration, time squared. So your uh so this is not actually 23 meters. Okay. So your position. So let's solve for this position here. So 5 plus 15 times 2 plus 0.5 times 4 times 2 squared. So we have 43. This position is 43 meters. Okay, so we have 43 meters. So so again, this is very useful because you can predict where is the where is the particle, what is the speed, what time it will arrive as long as the acceleration is constant. So where is he when speed is 25 meters per second? When his speed is 25 meters per second. So actually here, so actually, it's very, you can actually solve for, you're given v sub x here. So meaning the v sub x is given. You can actually calculate, if you have v sub x, you can calculate the time and then you can use the time to get the position. You can use this one, two equation. Again, get the time. Uh, what is the time when his velocity is 25 meters per second, and use the time to get the position. However, you can also use this. You can also actually use this equation 2.13 here. So what are you going to do is uh, solve given given this, solve for this x. You have the acceleration, you have the initial position, you have the initial velocity. Okay. So if we multiply both sides by 1 over 2 ax, so you mean, so the left hand side will be x minus x sub o, and the right hand side will be over 2 ax. Okay. We transpose this one to the other side, it will become positive. So this will become now the formula. So we have 5.0 plus 25 meters per second squared minus 15 meters per second squared over 2 times 4.0 meters per second. So this is equal to 55 meters. So that is the position. So you can confirm this. I want you to challenge you to 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 find the time and to find the position, and you will find out that your result is equal to this one when you use the equation 3. So this equation here is very useful. This equation 2.13 in your book. Now, let's discuss the the application, the real application of this motion with constant acceleration. Actually, the constant acceleration concept is true. You can actually see it in real life. So one example of that is when you are when you fall to some height from some height. So meaning you are actually accelerating with a constant acceleration equal to negative g, where g is equal to 9.8 meters per second squared. So you are negative means you're accelerating downward. Okay. So just like this one, since when we talk about falling objects, we are actually now moving along the y direction. So padulong na ta sa ato patungo na tayo sa y direction. So instead of using since this is a motion with constant acceleration but in the y-axis na when we talk about falling objects, so we can actually make a kinematics equation with constant acceleration in terms of y-axis. Ito yon. At saka, since ang ating acceleration is negative g, since when we are talking about free fall, we have a 9.8 acceleration, negative 9.8 meters per second squared acceleration, then we can actually replace this one as to negative g. Ito yung mga acceleration. We can actually, to simplify, for simplification. So if we apply this one, since uh, we, in terms of free falling objects, they are accelerating downward. Your ay is equal to negative g. So our kinematics equation now, applying for example, this one we put this one as negative g. Okay, so ay is equal to negative g. It will become this equation here. So on and so forth for these four equations. So you can use these four equations to find the free falling bodies or to solve for free falling bodies problems. Okay. You just use this. Okay, so for example here you throw a ball vertically upward from the roof of a tall building. So the ball leaves your hand at a point even with the roof railing with an upward speed of 15 meters per second. So the ball is then in free fall. So ignore the air resistance. On its way back down, it misses the railing. So nagtapon ka daw ng bola pataas. So meron siyang initial velocity 15 meters per second. It has initial velocity. So it reached at the maximum height, then it goes down. But as it goes down, it misses the railing. So the railing and your hand when you throw the ball is naka-level po siya. So so this railing will be our y is equal to 0 or ang ating origin. So the first question here is find the ball's position and velocity 1.0 seconds and 4.0 seconds after leaving your hand. Okay. So at 1.0 seconds, we can actually find the position using this formula. Okay, meron tayong kinematics equations along y with our ay is replaced with negative g. Okay, ito na po yung result. This is your result. So we have an initial position which is equal to 0. We have initial velocity 15 meters per second. We have time. So after 1 second, so we have here 9.8. So it's no longer negative because we already incorporated the negative in the here, negative g. So if you solve for this, so 15 times 1 minus this term here, if you do your calculations, you actually will get 10.1 meter. So your height after 1 second here is 10.1 meter. And your velocity during that time is 5.2 meters. So it's still going up, meaning it's still positive. You can see it that in the figure. But after 4 seconds, your position now. So after 4 seconds, your position is below the the origin. So it should be negative. That's why it's a negative 18.4. So you just replace the t with 4 seconds. And your velocity now here, after replacing 4 seconds, is now downward at negative 24 meters per second. So you are accelerating downward, and your velocity as you goes down increases. Okay. So find the ball's velocity when it is 5.0 meters above the railing. So the given here is that you're given the position y. Ito yung given position. You are asked to find the velocity, final velocity. This one is your target variable. So you can actually transpose this one into here, and then you do this formula, or the plus and minus the square root of this term when this one is being transferred become positive. So your initial velocity is 15 meters per second squared minus 2 times the 9.8 meters per second squared times 15 meters minus 0. Your y sub o is 0. So if you do your calculations, your velocity is 11.3 meters per second. So there is a positive and negative. You have two velocities. One is up, one is down, because when you go, the moment you're still moving upward, you pass this point 5.0 meter, and the moment your ball is already going down, you already also pass this point. So you pass this point also. That's why you have positive and negative value of your velocity. So find the maximum height reach. Okay. So ano ba? What is the clue here? So remember, when you are at the maximum height, your velocity actually at the maximum height is 0. That's the clue. And 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 if your v sub o is equal to 0, then if you look at this formula here, the equation 3 in the kinematics equation, your y will become, this one will become the maximum height. So meaning if your velocity is 0, your y is the maximum height, h max. Okay. So if this is 0, then your y is become the maximum height. So in the left hand side, we're left with this, and we are left with this in the right hand side. So divide both sides by this equation, this one. So your h max is this term divided by this term, 2 times 9.8, so we have 11.5 meters. So our maximum height is 11.5 meters. Okay, so it's probably more than 1 second. Okay, you can actually calculate the time when the ball reaches the maximum height using this one, the v sub y is equal to v sub oy minus jt. And then if you have time now, you can actually get the position using the second equation. Okay. But it is more convenient to use this third equation here. So find the ball's acceleration when it is at the maximum height. So remember that uh, we are solving a problem with constant acceleration. The reason why our equations are effective or true, because we are dealing with constant acceleration. When we say constant, at any point here, whether at the maximum height, at any point, acceleration is constant or the same. So at the maximum height, where the velocity is 0, but the acceleration still is constant, which is negative 9.8 meters per second squared. So remember that always. Now, so what happens when you're now dealing with a non-constant acceleration? So just like this problem here. So your acceleration is no longer constant. But if it's a known function, meaning a sub xt, if it is a function of time, then you can actually get the position using this integration formula. Okay, using this integral formula. So the formula is n plus 1 like this over n plus 1. So you can use this formula here. Okay. So say for example, you have example 2.9 where Sally is driving a straight highway at t is equal to 0. When she is moving at 10 meters per second in the positive x direction, she passes a signpost at x is equal to 50 meters. Her acceleration is as a function of time is given by this equation. Okay. So find her x velocity, vx, and find his position as a function of time. Okay. So from the formula, you can get the velocity here, this velocity, if you integrate this one. Okay. So if you plug in this ax here, this one, so this is what it looks like. So initial velocity in meters per second plus the integral of the acceleration with respect to time. Okay. So next is you distribute the term here. So this term plus this term, and then you will you will make this constant outside the integral because it's constant. Okay, so you can now use the formula to integrate this one dt and this term here. Okay. So this is our formula. The integral of t to the power of n dt is just t n plus 1 over n plus 1 plus c. Okay. So is this, for example, the integral of dt. So we are solving here the integral of dt. Okay. The integral of dt, so it actually has t to the 0 which is equal to 1 here. Naman ay 1. Meron niyang 1. Or t to the 0. T to the 0, any number to the power of 0 is just 1. So using this formula, so t to the power of 0 is just t 0 plus 1. So n is equal to 0 and 0 plus 1 integrated from 0 to t. So we have t to the power of 1 over 1. So it's just equal to t integrated from 0 to t. So then the upper boundary you put inside t. So this one t, and then minus the lower boundary you put here. T minus 0 is just equal to t. Okay. For t to the integral of 0 to t t1 at t dt, so meron niya actually 1 here. So t to the power of 1, so t1 plus 1 over 1 plus 1 is t squared over 2 integrated from 0 to t. Okay, so here, so the first boundary, so I put that, so it'll become t squared over 2, and this boundary lower minus the lower boundary, so this will be 0. So we have t squared over 2 or 1 half t squared. Okay, so since we have this one, this is just equal to t, and this is equal to 1 half t squared. So our equation now will become like this. So 10 meters, 2.0 meters per second squared times t minus 0.10 meters per second cube times 1 half times t squared. So that is our function. If you wish to find the velocity at any time t, you just use this function. How about the position? Okay. To get the position, you just use this formula here. So we already have the velocity, function of velocity with respect to time. Then if you plug in, so you have your initial 50 meters, and this whole term here is just the bx. Okay. So doing the same, so we have here uh, distribute. So we have first term, second term, and the third term. and then make this constant out. So we take this constant out. So we have the 10 meters dt, 2.0 meters per second squared, t dt, negative 1 half times this one, t squared, and that one. Okay. So again, the integral of dt is just equal to t, and the integral of t dt is just equal to 1 half t squared. So we're familiar of that. One thing we're not familiar is the integral of t squared dt. So here, the integral of t squared dt is 2 plus 1 over 2 plus 1 is t cubed over 3 from 0 to 3. So we put the upper boundary t cubed over 3 minus 0 cubed over 3. So we have this one equal to 0. So we have t cubed over 3 or 1/3 3t cubed. So we know this. This is just t. We replace by t. We replace by 1 half 2t and 1/3 2t. So what will happen is looks like this. So we have 1 half t squared, we have t, and 1/3 t cubed. So that is our x as a function of time. So we can find the position if you use that function. So meaning, so if you want to find this one, use this function as a function of time. If you want to find that one, you can use that one. So even if the acceleration is not constant, as long as it's known, then you can use integration. So where is he? Where when? So when is her velocity greatest? So if you actually graph the velocity versus time, you will actually get this slope here. This path here. So the maximum velocity at the maximum velocity Vmax, your acceleration here is actually like this. The slope of your acceleration looks like that. So meaning your acceleration is at 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 the maximum velocity is equal to 0. So when is that? So when you equate that acceleration is equal to 0, you can solve for time t. So you you put this onto the other side and it become positive. Divide both sides by this one. So the left hand side is just t, and the other side is just this one. So your velocity is greatest at t is equal to 20 seconds. So what is the maximum velocity? Okay. So using t is equal to 20 seconds, so your maximum velocity, you just plug in the 20 seconds here. Okay. So we have actually 30 meters per second. So if you look at the graph, so it's actually in the maximum is in 30 meters per second. So where is the car when it reaches the maximum velocity? So saan daw kuno yung where is the car? So just plug in t here, t and t here. Okay. So if you do your calculator, okay, if I made that right, so your position is 507 meter away from the origin. Okay, that's all for chapter 2. So we already discussed the straight line motion, average and instantaneous velocity, the average and instantaneous acceleration. We calculated the straight line motion with constant acceleration, the free falling objects, and the straight line motion with varying acceleration. Okay, that's all. Thank you, everyone.